Hello, I'm Steve Spiewak, estate planning attorney in the greater St. Louis, Missouri area. Today I'd like to talk with you about that awkward moment. That is, facing those uncomfortable issues with your trust and estates lawyer. As any estate planning attorney can tell you, there are a variety of very uncomfortable questions that we have to ask our clients. After all, who wants to be thinking about their own mortality and what future their family would face if they became incapacitated or they died? But by addressing these issues now, you'll have a much greater say in the welfare and well-being of your family than leaving it all to chance. So what are the kinds of issues and uncomfortable questions that you should be facing? Well, the first set pertains to you and your spouse, and that question about what would happen if something happened to both you and your spouse at the same time in a common accident. Granted, that would be an unusual occurrence, but it certainly does happen, and it must be planned for. Who would have custody of your minor children? What would happen to your assets? As far as minor children are concerned, if you haven't designated who's going to have custody, then the courts are going to make that decision, and it could be someone very different from whom you would choose. You might assume that, grandparents would be chosen, and maybe they would, and maybe they wouldn't. But if there are two sets of grandparents, then who's the court going to choose between, and what kind of conflict will there be in the family? For all of these reasons, it's important for you to make your wishes known so that your children will be lived with and be raised by the people that you want to have them. Now, other than issues pertaining to your spouse and your children, there's other uncomfortable questions that must be answered. Is there someone else in your life who, in the event of your death, might make a claim to your assets? Did you ever have a relationship with someone other than your spouse who, at your death, would come forward making a claim and expecting to receive something? Are there estranged family members, children that you've had very little contact with, long-lost siblings, estranged parents who, in the event of your death, are going to make a claim for your assets? By doing planning now, you have the ability to fend off these kinds of challenges and assure that who you want to have what you've accumulated in life will get them. And last but not least, there's other issues that may have to be dealt with. Have you or your spouse ever stored genetic materials, eggs, sperm, embryos? Provisions must be made as to what will happen to these materials, and the best place to do it is in your estate plan. What would happen and who would have custody of children born and conceived after your death? Again, these are all difficult questions, but in order to have a comprehensive estate plan that will work for you, they all must be dealt with. It's not easy to have to answer all of these uncomfortable questions, but by doing so, the chances are much better that you'll be fully protected and the wishes that you have for your family in the event you're no longer here to provide for them will be fulfilled. If you're ready to address these issues, please call our St. Louis law firm at 314-542-2210, and with the mention of this video, receive a free legacy planning session to begin the process. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.